Hey, have you ever loved a man and thought he really was loving you back and you thought it was going somewhere? And then overnight, homeboy was gone? You trying to figure out exactly what really happened? You looking around? Where is he? Can't find him? I want to talk tonight about why do some men love you and leave you? Wow. Sometimes you think it's your fault when it really has absolutely nothing to do with you personally. Why do some men love you and leave you? I need you to invite your friends to come in. Tell them RC is on. We're getting ready to get busy tonight. Oh, well, it's my joy to be with you again tonight. And, I am, if this is your first time, I am RC Blakes. Aura. They say I pronounce it like that. RC Blakes. And this is Let's Talk with Me. Please feel comfortable. Get something to write with. Take your shoes off. You're at home, hopefully. If you're in the courtroom, it's probably not a good idea. But get as comfortable as you can and come in and join me in the royal court tonight as we unpack this subject matter. Why do some men, not all men are not dogs, why do some men love them and leave them? You know, there was a song, I think it was Rick James, where he talks about love, and that's what I used to do. Yeah. Nostalgic. Yeah, Rick James talked about loving them and leaving them. And a lot of times, guys want to say to me, well, RC, you're too hard on us. And I'm really not, because we as men in general, not all of us, but we as men in general give women a very, very, very rough way to go. Now, I will admit this, it's not always intentionally. Sometimes it's just that there are certain things that are absent within us, which is what we're going to unpack tonight and hopefully rescue, let's get this off, hopefully rescue the self-esteem of the woman who's in a position where a man has loved and left. And you thought this was your husband. Well, there are a few things I could say to you, but I'm not going to say that tonight. I'm here tonight to simply help rescue your self-esteem from the false idea that somehow something is broken in you, something's wrong with you, and this is the reason a man or men have left you. Now, sometimes there are things wrong with the woman, and she is many times the reason why men leave. She's not done her personal work, but most of the time, men love and leave because they've not done theirs. So I want to talk tonight about understanding the 5 internal battles that prevent some men from sustaining love. The 5 internal battles that prevent some men from sustaining love. Now, I relate to these. Though I have been in my lifetime just miserably, a miserable failure at love. That's why I know so much about it. That's why I can help so many people. It's not from a place of success, it's not from a place of success necessarily, but it comes from a place of miserable failure. Watch this. Without intending to fail. Really thinking I'm loving, really thinking that I have what it takes to make this work, and then discovering somewhere within the flow of the relationship that I'm lacking the necessary character, the necessary infrastructure to be able to see this love affair through. And so when it ends, of course, it looks like he was only here for sex. And the reality was I had great intentions, but I just didn't do my personal work and I just didn't have what it really took to actually make a relationship work, which is why I believe women should really slow your roll in terms of diving into love. Discern a man, analyze a man, observe a man, prove a man, so you can make certain that he has the infrastructure to sustain the beautiful, you know, external structure that he's presenting to the world. Now, one of the deepest wounds a woman can experience is being loved by a man who eventually leaves. It is one of the deepest and most difficult experiences in a woman's life, to have been loved by a man, to have felt loved by this man, and this man eventually leaves. Now, long after the relationship ends, she may continue asking, did he really love me? How could he walk away? He made me feel everything I felt like I was supposed to feel. And sometimes the answer is simple. What he called love was never genuine. He may have loved the attention that you gave, the support you gave, the companionship you provided, or the benefits you provided prematurely. If you listen to me, you wouldn't. Okay, let me get off of that. He may have enjoyed all of the benefits that you provided without truly ever loving you. But that's not the explanation for every relationship that ends. Some men are absolute dogs. Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. Dogs. Get the kibbles and bits out. Dogs. Some men are. But some men genuinely love women, genuinely love women. They're not internally prepared to keep. I tell the story, at least I told the story, I've told it, about how I became a teenage father at 15. Child was conceived at 14. 3 days after I turned 18, I married the mother of my first child. 3 days after I turned 18 on the 14th, I got married to her mother on the 17th of July. And I just was not. I had all the greatest intentions in the world. I believed that, we would grow old together and this was my forever. I believe that. But little did I know my intentionality, the infrastructure of my character had not caught up with my intention. And so, long story short, I was a complete and total mess. That marriage didn't work because of me. Because some men genuinely love women, they are not internally prepared to keep. And when it ends, here's the devastating part. The woman is left feeling like there's something wrong with her, when in reality, in many cases, the woman was absolutely perfect. Now, no one's perfect, but you know what I mean. The woman was without flaw or guilt in this situation. Because love is powerful, but love does not automatically produce maturity. Did you catch that? Love is powerful, but love does not automatically produce maturity. A man may possess strong feelings while lacking the identity, character, healing, priorities, and self mastery required to sustain those feelings. He may know how to pursue love without knowing how to protect it. And so, this conversation tonight is not intended to excuse betrayal, abandonment, or irresponsibility on a man's part. It is intended to free women from interpreting every man's departure as a verdict on your value. Sometimes his leaving does not reveal that you have or that you are unworthy, that you're unworthy of love. It reveals that he was unprepared for the responsibilities love created. So the deeper question is not simply, did he love me? The deeper question is, had he become the kind of man who could protect the love he felt? That's the deeper question. Was he the kind of man that could sustain love? So your type of man can love you, but your kind of man can sustain it. You catch that? Your type of man can love you. He can love you on whatever level. A man can love your body. A man can love your attitude. A man can love your energy, your spirit rather. A man can love a million different things about you. But does he have the character to sustain that love? Especially when things change. So let's get into this. 5 battles. The 5 battles, a man, the internal battles that prevent some men from sustaining love. Number 1 is the battle for identity. Many men enter relationships before they have settled who they are. They know what they feel, but not who they are becoming. And as their identity evolves, their commitments often change. Yeah, as things unfold, their commitments change. And a woman cannot permanently stabilize a man whose identity is still under construction. Wow. Now that's a mistake. I'm trying not to deal with y'all's mistakes tonight. Trying to just bring healing to your souls tonight, but that's a mistake many of you make. You're trying to stabilize a man whose identity is still under construction. You're trying to take a man that's not complete within himself and think that you're going to create a complete relationship or a complete marriage. A half a man will only create a half of a relationship. And that half is going to be engineered, driven by you. In Genesis chapter 32 and 28, it says, and he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob. Here's the story of Jacob, who had a marvelous transition in terms of his identity. Known for one thing, God touched his life and he became someone altogether different. It says, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. So before God, read the full context in your leisure. Before God expanded Jacob's influence, he transformed his identity. And healthy relationships require people who have first established themselves. It goes back to a teaching I did. You should watch it. It should be on the channel. On why it's necessary to be single. It's necessary to the same attributes and strengths you develop as an unmarried single person are many of the same attributes that sustain you as a partner in a healthy marriage. You have to first be established within yourself. The privilege, Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Now, how do you know? Here's a good question. How do you know a man's identity cannot sustain commitment? How can a woman know this? How can she begin to discern this? Number one, he is still trying to find himself. He's 40 years old, talking about he's a rapper now. I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm the next LL Cool J. LL Cool J did not turn to be LL Cool J at 40 years old. He was LL Cool J as a teenager. He just kept on evolving and growing. Now he's maybe a 60-year-old man as LL Cool J. He's still trying to he's constantly trying to find himself. No clear direction, no clear purpose. Doesn't know Letter B, he depends on external validation to feel significant. He got to be dressed a certain kind. And don't get me wrong, I love being dressed a certain kind of way, but I don't have to be to feel, you know, validated. I know who I am. Right now, I got on one of the young men who goes to our Houston church. It's called Branded. Let me see if I can get this off here so y'all can see it. Let me just see. I don't mean to disrupt the flow, but watch this. It's called Branded by God. This is made by one of the young men at our Baton Rouge church. I'm going to be talking more about it because I want y'all to support it. I don't have to have a Tom Ford suit on every time I sit down. I got those suits. I have Tom Ford suits, and I have Men's Warehouse suits. Now, anybody that knows, if you know, you know. Tom Ford, Men's Warehouse. The two never meet. But I don't need external validation to feel significant. I can wear a Men's Warehouse suit, and I can be around people with Tom Ford, Xenia, you know, Brioni, or whatever else you want to wear. And I don't feel no ways inferior because I know who I am. Okay, I didn't mean to go off on that. That was just a lesson for the brothers. He cannot, let us see, he cannot clearly articulate his purpose, values, or direction. What you doing? Oh, well, see when a dude come out his mouth with and then he rattles off a lot of pointless things that you really didn't even understand what he said. An unsettled identity cannot produce settled commitment. And so this is why you need to slow your roll. When you see your type, your emotions take over, your biology takes over, arrest all of that and shift on over into your intellect and your spirit. Start observing and discerning, because the first thing you need to observe is, does this guy have a strong, solid identity? Because if he doesn't have what it takes to sustain a relationship. And at some point, it's going to overwhelm him. And he may not mean any harm, but he's going to do harm when he leaves me heartbroken. Number two is the battle for character. The 5 internal battles of a man. It's the battle for character. You see, love may begin a relationship, but character determines whether it survives. You can start a relationship on your type of man, but your kind of man, which speaks to the internals of the man, the character of the man, is what's going to make it lifelong or not. See, passion can pursue a woman, yet only integrity, discipline, and consistency can protect her. So the wise, queen-conscious woman studies a man's patterns more carefully than his promises. She studies a man's patterns more carefully than his promises, because his patterns are going to reveal the true nature of his character. Every man is in a struggle for his character. Proverbs 25:28 says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. That speaks of internal. Because a man without self-government is vulnerable to every temptation and impulse. Because it's character, not chemistry, that is the true guardian of commitment. It's character, not chemistry. See, it's character that when you go through, when you have a baby and you can't function in an intimate way for, an extended period of time, it's character that keeps a man from cheating, and that character being linked to the power of God. See, when y'all having some rough and rocky times like marriages tend to have, it's character that keeps him from going outside when he's mad with you at home and doing things that his flesh and the lower parts of him would love to do. It's character that keeps him faithful. Or when you're mad and you just say to him, I'm just not gonna do my wifely duties. I'm just mad. I'm mad. For whatever reason, you just shut it down. It's character that keeps him faithful, even though you're biblically out of order, unless he's cheated on you or put his hands on you or something like that. You're not supposed to just, okay, let me leave that alone. It's character. And if you don't take the time to observe if a man has character, don't be surprised when he shows up and he proves he doesn't. If a man doesn't have character, he does not have the necessary foundation to sustain a lifelong commitment to a woman. That is one of the most difficult things a man will ever do, is to commit himself to one woman and sustain that commitment. I don't think there's a greater feat in all of life. And it's not that women are difficult. I think women are absolutely divine. I hear men with all of these horror stories about women. I don't have those horror stories. I was the horror story to a lot of women. Women were never a horror story to me. Women are absolutely splendiferous, if that's a word. Nothing wrong with women. But when you got a man that doesn't have character, it doesn't matter how splendiferous you are, his character is not going to let him stand up under the weight of holding a woman's heart, of maintaining his flesh, his desires, of going against the grain of culture that says a man should be here and bouncing there and doing this and listening to what he hears in the, in the friend circle many times. You got to have a man that has character. You ran out here and jumped in the middle of that bed with a man because he was your type, and you did not do the smart thing. You just popping all that gum with all that greasy stuff on your lips, all that lip gloss and everything, and you're in the middle of that bed. You did not take one moment to discern, does this dude have character? You see, trust is built in very small moments. That's Dr. John Gottman who said that. You got to watch the small things. The small things reveal the big ending. Now, how does a woman know a man's character cannot sustain commitment? Letter A, his promises are stronger than his patterns. He's always promising, but he's never following through. His promises are always stronger than his patterns. And you keep excusing it because you just can't fathom the idea of being by myself again, even though this man is constantly telling me he's going to do one thing and he does something else. I'll excuse it again and I'll tell him one more time for the 50th time, if you do it again, I'm leaving. You said that 49 times already, dear. But his promises are stronger than his patterns. Character follows through. Letter B, he abandons responsibility when keeping his word becomes inconvenient. The moment it calls for him to step outside of what's convenient or easy for him to do, he abandons responsibility. The moment he has to, be a little selfless or give a little, he abandons responsibility when keeping his word becomes inconvenient. That is indicative of a character issue. And a lot of times, men don't mean any harm, but they didn't have the necessary character to enter into a relationship. And can I say this? I got to say this while I'm here. A lot of times, this lack of character is due to the way mothers raised them. And I'm not going to just say single mothers, because a lot of married mothers with the father of the boys in the house, and you undermining everything the man is trying to do to turn this boy into a man. You're going behind the man's back, undermining everything, giving the boy what the man said he couldn't have, interfering with the man, correcting the boy, trying to turn the boy into a responsible man. A lot of these men that y'all dealing with today that are irresponsible and lack character were produced by mamas who mama the man out the boy. Daddy trying to put man in the boy, and mama going there mamaing the man all out the boy. And now you got a grown boy because mama wouldn't get out the way. And don't write me nothing up in my email. Don't write me nothing. 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 I don't want to hear nothing. This is just the truth. You dealing with grown men now because mamas did it to them. A lot of times the single mother, which I understand the psyche of the single mother who indulges and over gives to her son, she's trying to make up for the fact that she had a son for a man that was irresponsible. She doesn't know that the end result of her giving him everything is going to be him turning into a grown boy with not enough character to hold the heart of a woman. Till she listens to RC, and she RC saying it. But a lot of these men that are irresponsible, yeah, a lot of them, it's because daddy wasn't there. But a lot of them, daddy right there in the house, and mama's undermining the process the whole while. I didn't mean to go off on that, but I had to say it because it needed to be said. Letter C, he lacks discipline when facing temptation, pressure, or disappointment. He's constantly flirting. He's constantly getting caught cheating. And he talking about how much he loves you. And you saying, you can't love me. You keep doing this. A lot of times he can. He just doesn't have the character. The Apostle Paul said, when I was a child, I thought like a child. I behaved like a child. But now when I became a man, I put away childish things. He hasn't become a man yet. Just because he's 6 feet with a six-pack making six figures doesn't mean he's a man. He's a man based on what's going on the inside of him. So a man that lacks character, his feelings may begin a relationship, but only his character can sustain it or not. See, because sustained relationship is a matter of choice. Beginning a relationship is a matter of impulse and feeling and hormones. But to say, let's get married today, meet me at the altar in your white dress. No, that's where a man has to make a choice. He chooses. I want you, and it's going to take character to sustain that. Now, number 3. I meant to put my little graphics up, but I guess better late than never. I had all this the whole while, y'all. Eesh. Is the battle with his wounds. Because a man who refuses to heal eventually make the woman who loves him feel the pain he avoids. Catch that. Some men do not leave because they stopped loving. They leave because intimacy exposes wounds they never healed. Unresolved rejection, abandonment, betrayal, or shame can distort the way a man receives love and responds to closeness. And until he confronts those wounds, the woman he loves often bears the consequences of pain she did not create. He withdraws whenever emotional intimacy increases. He punishes you for pain caused by people from his past. He refuses to confront or seek healing for recurring emotional patterns. Wow. Yeah, a lot of times he's gone because, he never dealt with those internal wounds. Proverbs 18:14 says, the spirit of a man will sustain him in sickness. But who can bear a broken spirit? When a man's spirit is broken, when his heart is broken, it's unbearable. A broken spirit can quietly undermine a man's ability to trust. It undermines a man's ability to connect and even remain emotionally healthy. And until the wound is healed, it often governs the relationship. And so in this case, the greatest gift, Harville Hendricks says, you can give your partner is your own wholeness. That's one of the things we talked about, why it's necessary to be single. It's necessary for you to get healed from all of this stuff that life has done to you before you bring that stuff and inflict somebody else with that stuff. You're supposed to do that work by yourself. Now, sometimes, healing is a lifelong process, but you should be well on your way in your own process before you bring somebody else into your life. And a lot of women, because you don't take the time to observe a guy's mental, emotional, psychological reality, you're just so locked in on his six-pack, his 6 feet, and his 6 figures. You're in the middle of all of this. Now, how does a woman know a man's wounds may sabotage commitment? He withdraws whenever emotional intimacy increases. Whenever you start, getting too lovey-dovey, I'm not with all that lovey-dovey. That's a cop-out. Because a man that loves a woman wants that woman close in every way. No, that's a trauma response. When a man tells you, I'm just not into all that, all that touchy, all that lovey-dovey, I'm not into all that. That's a trauma response. He got some stuff he's not dealt with. Maybe he has a woman that cheated on him in the past and he has anger issues. And when you get close, it just reminds him of how that woman cheated. So his heart is set up in a way that he rejects closeness, emotional intimacy, because he doesn't want to allow himself to get too attached. So he wants it to go only a certain distance. So he'll keep the relationship at a point where you're comfortable being physical, but he ain't going to let it go beyond anything that's going to cause him to drop all of his inhibitions. Letter B, he punishes you for pain caused by people, again, from your past. Here you going to the mall, and he all in the mall with black glasses on, a hat on, and everything, and thinking he catching you in something. You trying to figure out what's really going on. Letter C, he refuses to confront or seek healing for recurring emotional patterns. He keeps having these blow-ups. He keeps going off the deep end, maybe putting his hands on you, cursing you out, and you keep staying because there's something broken in you that allows you to tolerate that. But he refuses to confront or seek healing or help for recurring emotional patterns. You know that you got a brother here that's severely wounded. And, this is not going anywhere. You can try to force it if you want, but he gonna eventually leave, or you gonna have to leave him. Now, a man who refuses to heal will eventually make the woman who loves him feel again the pain he avoids. That's a statement right there. Now, here we have number 4, the battle for priorities. You discover what a man truly values by observing what he repeatedly refuses to sacrifice. Woo! You discover what a man truly values by observing what he repeatedly refuses to sacrifice. Every man, listen to this carefully, my dear, every man has a hierarchy of values. Some men sincerely love a woman while loving success, money, fame, popularity, pleasure, freedom, or status, loving these things more. And whatever occupies first place in a man's heart will eventually govern his decisions. So since you failed to pay attention to the man's priorities and you failed to demand you would be, at the top of his list of priorities, following God, maybe his children. If he had children before he met you, got to be God, his children, then you should be sliding in there somewhere. Because you failed to make yourself a priority, because when you are a priority to yourself, you begin to discern where are you on the list of priorities for the people that are closest to you. You got connected to a man that never gave you the idea that you was a priority. You always got spare time. You always got spare time. You always, your conversations always got cut short for business or for friends or for mama or for whatever. Because whatever occupies first place in his heart will eventually govern his decisions. And a woman, one of the ways a woman knows that a man really loves her is that he makes her his number one priority after God. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 21 says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." So the issue is often not whether he loved her, but what he consistently loved more. If a man, okay, I ain't gonna say that because I won't start no arguments in no relationships. Let me leave that alone. Esther Perel said, "The quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives." But if a man does not prioritize relationships, it means you're dispensable. You're dispensable. If a man, say a man, loves God, then he loves his business, then he loves his children, then he loves his mama. Well, or say he loves God, love his mama, he love his businesses, or he loves God. I'm just trying to put it in some kind of order. He loves God, he loves his mama, he loves his children, he loves his business, and his friends. All of these are priorities over you. You're not even in the top 5. Where you think that's going? That means you're dispensable. If you're not in the top 5, you're dispensable. It takes 5 players on a basketball team to make things work. If you're not in the top 5, you're subject to be moved around. Actually, even on a basketball team, the top 5, the 4 and the 5, the 4th and the 5th, they are even at certain times dispensable. And a wise woman does not give herself to a man where she's not in the top 3. Where she ain't gonna try to compete with God. Moving in, she's not gonna even try to compete with mom. But somewhere around 3, you got to be on par with children, you and children got to be on par. And then as you prove yourself, and if he's a biblical man, you then you move into mom space. Now, how do you know a man's priorities cannot sustain commitment? The relationship consistently receives what is left after everything else. The relationship consistently receives what is left after everything else. Letter B, he sacrifices the relationship for ambition, pleasure, image, or approval. Letter C, he expects commitment from you while treating his own commitment as optional. Oh my goodness. If you just use a little observation, baby, you don't even need a whole lot of discernment on it. Just observe. You discover what a man truly values by observing what he repeatedly refuses to sacrifice. You discover what a man values by observing what he repeatedly refuses to sacrifice. If he's always sacrificing time with you for friends, for business, for whatever, you're dispensable, dear. You're probably, in his mind, you're probably not here for forever, ever, no way. Definitely not ever, ever. And this brings me to number 5, and I'm done. It's the battle for spiritual mastery. These are the reasons that men love and leave. They loved from an incomplete place out the gate. A man who cannot govern himself cannot consistently guard the heart of the woman he loves. Can't do it. And the greatest threat to many relationships is not another woman, but an unconquered man. Pride, lust, anger, selfishness, and insecurity, all of these things will eventually destroy what love alone cannot protect. A man who cannot govern himself, cannot consistently guard the heart of the woman he loves. It's just not going to happen. The enemy, number one, you got to understand the devil hates marriage, hates the institution of marriage, because it's the institution whereby God pronounced dominion. It's the institution where, we procreate. Come on now. And so the devil hates marriage. And so there's warfare. And if a man is not, if he's not spiritually in control of his faculties, he is a pawn in the hands of Satan when it comes down to the spiritual warfare that comes against relationships. So this is why many of the relationships, the man loves you, really does, but he leaves because he doesn't have what it takes to fight the warfare. Proverbs 16:32 says, "He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city." God measures strength by self-mastery, not outward achievement or aggression or force. And lasting love requires disciplined character. Dr. John Gottman says commitment is a series of choices, not merely a feeling. It is a series of choices and not merely a feeling. Now, how might you know a man cannot govern himself? His appetites regularly overpower his convictions. He says one thing out of his mouth, and he really means that, but then you see him doing something else. He says he wants to be a husband, but then you watch him. His eyes are following another woman's bottom all the way down the street. He's not just glancing like a normal man and looking away respectfully like a normal man. His mouth is open, drool coming out his mouth like, like a cane corso. When them dogs get hungry and that stuff just start dripping, his mouth just dripping. You standing right there. He's saying he want to be a husband, but his appetites overpower his convictions. Every woman flirting with him. Yeah, he got conversation for her. He don't know how to say, I'm in a relationship, and, you can be respectful. Say, I'm flattered, but I'm in a relationship. Thank you very much. And keep it moving. No, he got a whole conversation rubbing on his chin and everything. Yeah. I wasn't going to do nothing. I wasn't going to. His appetites regularly overpower his convictions. Letter B, he blames others for choices he willingly makes. He never takes responsibility. He blames everybody else. Well, she came on to me so hard, and I was just, she kind of forced me. If my daddy had been here, I wouldn't have cheated on you. If my daddy had been here, I wouldn't have put my hands on you. Daddy been dead. What is you talking about, man? That ain't got nothing to do with you lying a day. And letter C, he repeatedly apologizes without producing measurable change. Because a man who cannot govern himself cannot consistently guard the heart of the woman he says he loves. That's just a fact. Now, let me see if I can get to my little stuff here. Oh, Lord, that's the wrong one. Here we go. I'm having all kinds of mishaps today. I'm trying to be smooth with it. But now, on a serious note, as I bring this to a close, when a relationship ends, many women ask, did he ever really love me? And sometimes the answer is no, he never really loved me. But you should have been smart enough to know that, as far as I'm concerned. But many times the answer is yes. And the deeper issue is whether he had, won the internal battles that we just discussed. Had he won the internal battles necessary to sustain the love he said he felt? Did he win the battle in his identity, his character, his personal wounds, his priority, his spiritual mastery? You see, identity gives love direction. Character gives love stability. Healing gives love freedom. Right priorities give love permanence. Spiritual mastery give love protection. And a man's departure is not always proof that his love was false. Sometimes it proves that his love was smaller than his fears, weaker than his wounds, or less developed than his character. So the wisest question is not simply, does he love me? It is, has he become the kind of man who can protect the love he feels? And so my prayer for you today is that the Spirit of God will help you to understand that this was never, ever about you. This was an issue within him. And so if you're struggling today with all kinds of thoughts, maybe identity issues within yourself because of the trauma caused by a man that loved you and left, you need someone to talk to, I recommend BetterHelp Counseling. We all need someone to talk to. And if you utilize the link in my description, it will afford you 10% off the cost of the counseling. But more importantly, you'll get a chance to begin to explore and see if you can find the person that can help you think through, talk through, and work through your particular issues. Do it today if you feel a need for this kind of support. Also, if you've not joined the Royal Court, you should do so. It's an amazing community that is growing of women all around the world. And we meet by Zoom. Oh man, we're developing an amazing community. I am moving towards, Lisa and I are moving towards our own platform. Next year, we're going to have RC and Lisa Blake's Transformation Institute. And eventually, we're going to be less on public platforms and more in our private community. And the Royal Court, the Royal Cohort is also part of that. It's another tier. This is the beginning of our moving into our own sphere. In fact, about it, to that end, I am moved to open MORDECAI Mission again for September. 12 weeks, live mentoring with Lisa and I, with women typically from all around the world. It's been a few years since I've done it. I'm trying to see if there's still interest in it. MORDECAI is based on 3 pillars: inner healing, self-discovery, self-development. So we heal, we discover, we become. And it is an amazing framework for the internal transformation of women. You know, like many of you are extremely accomplished in business, education, and so forth and so on. You got your money, you got all of the things. But on the inside, there's still some stuff that you struggle with that may leave you with the imposter syndrome, or may leave you feeling like, you know, you're not worthy of this, though you're accomplishing all of that. MORDECAI Mission is perfect. And I think the link is up now. You can go to the website, rcblakes.com, and you can register for MORDECAI Mission. Yeah, do that. If this is something that you feel like you need in your life, go to rcblakes.com now and look at all of the particulars. And Lisa and I would love to, if the interest is there, Lisa and I would love to meet you in MORDECAI Mission for 12 weeks, starting in September. Yeah, that's a way for me to get my rhythm back as we launch the Institute next year, which the Institute is going to deal with all kinds of subject matter, from relationships to identity to inner healing to finance to business. I'm going to actually bring on other instructors from various disciplines. The Institute is going to be a place where a woman can truly train for reigning. Get my latest book. That's a shameless plug for my latest book, Training for Reigning. It's where you can pull all of the pieces together as a woman and live your best life. Thanks to the greatest moderators in the world. I love all of you. Thanks to my amazing community. I appreciate all of you so much. I'm just trying to make certain that I'm not missing anything. We may take this down this week, this offer, so get it while it lasts. I think this is the last week for this bundle offer, and then we'll go back to normal pricing. If you've not gotten any of your On Top Going Higher gear or Lisa's OK gear, do that as well at rcblakesstore.com. Well, I am RC Blakes. You are on top. You are going higher. God has more in store for you. So I'm going to see you at the top. It's been my joy.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go with RC Blakes Jr. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
talk.
Oh, my queen, my queen. Oh, she. Oh, she. Beautiful, wonderfully made. She's heaven's angel. So strong, even in struggle, yeah. When life comes like a storm from every angle, she rises above it all, the backbone of every home. Nothing compares to all she do. The true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah. Where would we be without you? You brought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama, yeah, and Jesus too. Oh, she's sophisticated, strong, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful, educated, ebony, eccentric, empowering. She's a queen, she's a queen. You better treat her like a queen. Oh, Her strength is amazing. Life inside, 9 months she's carrying back to work, 'cause the family she's carrying. Society don't give her just due, but she prevails and stands tall. A champion, a true woman. But nothing compares to all she do. Yeah, the true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah, oh. And where would we be without you? Yeah, you brought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama, and Jesus too. Oh, she is so
My